Keon Miller.
Exam.
Keon Miller. Calling case number 2357997, the people of the state of Michigan versus Keon Miller. Defendant is charged with count 1, weapons carrying concealed. This matter is scheduled for exam.
Good morning, Philip Henderson on behalf of the people, P86029.
Good morning, Your Honor. Will Broman on behalf of Mr. Miller, P85264. Mr. Miller is standing to my right today. Mr. Miller, please state your name for the record.
Keanu.
Thank you. All right, you ready to proceed?
Yes, sir. The people called Officer Hopkins to the stand.
Is that Hopkins?
Hopkins, yes, sir.
First name,
Chadwick,
C-H-A-D,
W-I-C-K.
Hopkins, H-O-P-K-I-N-S.
Yes, ma'am.
First name, judges for you.
Swear our affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
Put the door toward you, you have a seat, please.
Please introduce yourself to the court.
Officer Hopkins,
You can step back or sit back.
Yeah, you don't need to lean into it.
Chadwick Hopkins, second precinct, County of Wayne, Detroit Police Department,
Okay, and how long have you been employed with the DPD?
3 years.
And were you working on July 19th, 2023?
Yes,
And did something happen on that day that brought you to court here today?
yes.
Can you tell us where you were?
I was on Schoolcraft.
And what did you notice when you were on school?
I was on Schoolcraft headed east. I noticed a white Lincoln vehicle, traveling at a high rate of speed.
And what did you do after you saw that?
My partner then, attempted to catch up to the car.
Okay, and you said your partner, how many people were you working with that day?
3.
And were you on foot or in a vehicle?
I was in the vehicle.
Okay, where were you sitting?
I was in the passenger seat.
So, did you catch up to the vehicle?
My partner was then able to catch up to the vehicle.
Okay, and what did you do after that?
We conducted a traffic stop inside of a lot.
Okay. During the traffic stop, what did you do?
During the traffic stop, I ran the plate, I ran the name. Yeah.
Okay, and when you ran the plate, what did you find?
There was no insurance.
And so what did you do after that?
My partner didn't exit the vehicle, and I exited the vehicle also.
Okay, and what did you do with that?
We made contact with Keon Miller.
Okay, and you're indicating someone, Keon Miller. Do you see that person in the courtroom today?
Yes, sir.
Could you point him out where he's sitting and identified by an article of clothing that he's wearing?
He's right there. Right, the blue polo button up.
Your Honor, if the record should reflect, he's identified. So, what happened when you saw a person you described, you named as Keon Miller?
Once the car stopped abruptly, it's like he slammed on the brakes. He began reaching in the back seat towards the passenger side as if he was trying to conceal contraband or a weapon possibly from officers.
How did you strike the last part of that speculation? Because you can say what you saw. You saw him reaching in the back seat,
Possibly, yes.
but you can't interpret what you saw.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Say it again.
You just say exactly what you saw.
Right.
So you saw him reaching in the back seat, but the other part about interpreting what that means is totally different.
Understood.
You can't say that part, but it's speculation.
Understood.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
And where were you at when you saw that?
I was in the passenger seat.
Okay. And how were you able to see that?
The silhouette of the sun and walking out, getting out the vehicle. We kept eyes on the vehicle the whole time.
Okay. So after you saw that, what happened?
We exited the vehicle. My partner then went to make contact with Keon Miller, and he then detained him.
Okay, and so what did you do when he was detained?
I remained on the passenger side, observing him.
And then what happened?
Detained him, brought him back to the vehicle. The officer safety after the gestures that he conducted, and I then further investigation ran at the car with no insurance. He had suspended license, and we went from so on.
Okay. Did you ever speak with him?
I believe so, yes.
And what was that conversation?
When I spoke to him, my partner had searched the vehicle in arm's reach of him and found the firearm, and I asked, Mr. Miller, did he have a CPL?
And what was his response?
He stated no. I then ran his name via lien to ensure that he did not have a CPL, which it was found in negative results that he didn't have a CPL.
Okay, did you see the firearm?
Yes, my father showed him.
Okay, and did you actually see him recover it or search the vehicle?
I observed him, search the vehicle. He then recovered the gun out and showed me that he had recovered a firearm.
What type of gun?
It was a black Glock. I can refer better when I look at my report that you had.
Okay, well, let me just ask this, was it, you said it was a black box?
It was a black Glock stolen out of Southfield.
Okay, where were you when you made this stop?
We were on Schoolcraft and, can I refer to my report?
Yes. Your Honor, permission to approach.
Yes.
Okay, I'm handing you a document. Can you just take a look at it and tell me if you recognize it?
Yes,
What is it?
my report.
Okay, would that help refresh your recollection?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, and then it was in the parking lot of 1053.
Jack, you can't read from the report, Your Honor.
Yeah,
You can refresh your recollection.
Can you just read it silently and then look up with me when you're done? Is your recollection refreshed?
Yes,
Okay, where was it?
it was at 1053 Schoolcraft.
Okay, is that in the city of Detroit, County of Wayne?
Yes, sir.
Nothing further.
Morning, Officer Hopkins.
Good morning.
Have you ever testified in a district court for a felony case?
Yes,
About how many times?
What's the relevance?
Establishing his ability to be a credible witness, John.
No,
Okay.
on something else.
Is there any reason that you can't testify truthfully today?
no,
And you attended a police academy prior to joining Detroit Police Department?
yes, sir.
And part of your training included testifying at hearings such as this?
Yes,
And part of your training included writing reports, correct?
yes.
About how many hours did you have training writing reports?
I don't recall.
Well, part of that training, you were taught that your reports needed to be complete.
Yes,
And part of that training, you were taught that your reports needed to be accurate.
yes,
And part of that training, you were taught that your reports needed to be detailed.
yes,
And as part of that training, you were taught that your reports need to be truthful.
yes,
As part of your preparation for testifying today, you had an opportunity to review your report that you submitted, correct?
yes, just now.
And is there anything part of that, or any part of that report that is incomplete, undetailed, inaccurate, or untruthful?
No,
You had an opportunity to review it, make any corrections, additions, deletions that you wanted, correct?
I believe so, yes.
And what, you say you're with the second precinct? Yeah,
Yes,
and are you in a specific division, unit?
yes.
What is that division?
Second precinct, special operations.
And what are you responsible for doing in that division?
What's the relevance as to these charges on this day at this time?
I would be getting there in just a second, Your Honor.
No, we get there now. This is exam. This is not trial.
Yeah,
This is an exam, not trial.
I'm attempting to establish the officer's basis for conducting a traffic
Well,
stop.
you can ask him.
Okay, are you in the traffic enforcement division of the second precinct?
No,
Does the second precinct have a traffic enforcement division?
he has a traffic car.
There's a traffic car.
Yes,
You've conducted traffic stops before?
multiple times.
As part of that traffic, as part of conducting those traffic stops, you've asked drivers for their license, registration, proof of insurance, that sort of stuff?
Yes,
And one common place to keep these documents would be, for example, a center console.
can you repeat that again?
A common place for a driver to keep the documents that you would ask.
Relevance, counsel. I don't care what the commonplace is. I care what happened on this day at this time. That's all I'm interested in. I don't care about what can normally happen. I don't care about what people might do or what might happen. It's not relevant.
Your Honor, when we get
It's
to,
not relevant. So please, go on to something that's relevant as to what this date, this time, with your client and this officer.
Your Honor, respectfully,
It's not an argument, it's not a debate. I'm asking you to go on to something else. I'm making a ruling.
okay. It's common for drivers to store their documents in a glove box, correct?
Yes,
Yes. In your report, you write that you were, and I believe you testified earlier that you were pacing the Lincoln that you were following.
yes, my partner paced the vehicle
About how long were you pacing? Well, let me back up. What is the purpose of pacing a vehicle?
to determine exactly how fast they were going.
Okay, and you were in the passenger side,
Yes,
and so did you have a clear view of the speed that you're,
from the view of my partners.
of your partner's speed?
Yes,
When you conducted the traffic stop, Mr. Miller pulled over.
not immediately. We had to catch up to him.
He was evading you then?
We had to catch up to him.
When you turned your lights and sirens on, did Mr. Miller pull over?
Yes,
He did not try to flee you at a high rate of speed?
no,
He did not try to delay stopping at a low rate of speed?
no,
And then you, well, that's all I have for this witness, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir.
thank you, sir.
Your Honor, if I may, as part of this next witness, I'm going to be making a motion to suppress the evidence that was received during the stop, which was the purpose of.
Well, hold on, no, there's gonna be a next witness.
Your Honor, at this point, state rests. We don't have any further.
Yeah, I don't feel that I was adequately able to question the witness. I understand that you made your ruling.
I made a ruling about you questioning him about something that has nothing to do with this case. When you question something about what people normally do, they normally put something in certain areas, that has nothing to do with this case. You have to. So, and I didn't tell you to stop.
No, you're not.
I didn't make you stop. You stopped on your own.
Okay,
So, do you have any witnesses?
I'm gonna call Officer Duncan.
Is Officer Duncan here? Do you
Yes,
see
Your
him?
Honor. We see him.
All right. Give me an offer of proof. Why are you calling him?
Sorry?
Why are you calling him? Give me an offer of proof.
Your Honor, Mr. Duncan violated Mr. Miller's Fourth Amendment rights by having no reason to search his vehicle as incident to a traffic stop. There was no other information, no circumstance presented.
There was no insurance. That's what was said so far. And your client didn't have a driver's license. So the car was gonna be impounded.
At the time that the search occurred, Your Honor, Officer Duncan was unaware of any of that. Officer Duncan was unaware of.
Well, let's see. Let's call him.
Yes, all.
First name?
You swear our firm, tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
All right, pull the door towards you, have a seat, please.
Morning, Officer Duncan.
Morning.
Are you a police officer in the city of Detroit?
Yes,
How long have you been a police officer in the city of Detroit?
about 3 years, over 3 years, a little over 3 years.
Were you employed by any departments prior to that?
No,
You attended a police academy.
Yes,
You recall, making a traffic stop on July 19th, 2023?
yes,
And did you make that traffic stop of a white 2003 Lincoln?
yes,
When
This
you,
is your witness, so you cannot leave, you understand that, right?
Your Honor, asked the chief to witness as a hostile witness here.
It's not hostile, what has he been hostile for? He's answered all your questions.
Okay. You made a traffic stop that day,
yes.
and what was the reason for the traffic stop?
First, I observed the vehicle driving erratically, using improper lane usage. Also had no insurance on the vehicle.
At what point did you learn that there was no insurance on the vehicle?
Once my partner ran plate,
And when did your partner run the plate?
right before he initiated the lights and sirens.
So you had a clear view of the vehicle prior to initiating the lights and sirens?
Clear view of the vehicle, from a distance, had to catch up to the plate.
You had a clear enough view prior to activating your lights and sirens to clearly see the plate, to run the plate?
Yes,
Did you have a chance before today to review your report?
no, I didn't.
Did you prepare to testify at all today?
Did I prepare?
Correct.
Correct.
You did prepare or you did not prepare?
I did.
And what did you do to prepare?
About a week ago, reviewed my body cam.
Okay. You didn't review your report?
I did out there.
I thought you said that you had not reviewed your report.
You said before today.
Before testifying this morning, did you review your report?
Yes,
And was that report complete?
yes,
Was it accurate?
correct,
Was it detailed?
correct,
And was it truthful?
correct.
Your report doesn't mention when you ran the plate, does it?
Like the time? No,
Okay. And your report indicates why you stopped the vehicle, correct? Does your report indicate why you stopped the vehicle?
yeah, it should.
Did your report indicate that you viewed it traveling at a high rate of speed?
If I could glance over it, I could be more specific.
I guess I'm a little lost there. Are you using the report as impeachment? Because if you are, you haven't done it properly. So just to ask him about the report, you're asking about a hearsay statement.
Your Honor,
Let me finish, please, counsel.
Yes.
You know, so, I mean, you can use it as impeachment, I have a problem with that, but you just have to say, you know, I have to know that what it's being used for. But to ask him, you know, what's in the report, you're asking him about what's hearsay.
Your Honor, he testified that his report was complete. He's now testifying that the lack of insurance with the vehicle was a reason for pulling him over. That does not appear in his report. I'd like you to review it. He's testified that the report was complete, Your Honor.
Okay. Counsel. Every single iota of what happened is not gonna be in that report, that's impossible. You know, he testified, as his partner testified, that the plate was ran before they even stopped the vehicle. Okay, that's on the record.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and you wanna use a negative to show a positive. You wanna say something's not in there to show that now something's wrong with it because it's not in there. Is that, am I getting you correct?
Your Honor, there's
I just need you to answer my question, not go on to something else. Is that correct?
that because something was not in there, it was not done?
Yeah,
Yes.
okay, well, you know, this is a probable cause hearing. This is not trial. This is not beyond a reasonable doubt. This is probable cause. It probably happened. A crime probably happened and your client probably did it. That's it.
Your Honor, to establish the suppression motion and the basis for the suppression motion, under the Michigan court rules, this is an evidentiary hearing. And gathering that evidence were used in the suppression motion, which I was prepared to make today, on the basis of Officer Duncan and Officer Hopkins' testimony. I believe under the Michigan court rules, treating this as an evidentiary hearing, that I'm able to explore these issues with him. May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Sure.
Please review the report to refresh your recollection silently. You had a chance to review it? Did it refresh your recollection?
Yeah.
Nowhere in your report did you indicate that you ran Mr. Miller's license plate prior to pulling him over, did you?
No, it's not wrong.
When you pulled over Mr. Miller, the only reasons for pulling him over were for a traffic stop? Is that correct?
Put them on for a check. So.
And when is a traffic stop complete?
What do you mean, when is it complete?
I'll rephrase it. What is the mission of a traffic stop?
No mission. If you observe something, somebody doing a traffic violation, you have a reason to pull somebody over and investigate.
When did you attend the police academy?
Started July 27, 2020.
2020? And they, at the police academy, they didn't indicate to you
On
that
something else, I've already dealt with this issue. I'm not gonna go into what he learned at the police academy. He's a police officer. We're speaking to this issue, period.
Your Honor,
What's before the court. All right?
Your Honor, Mr. Duncan just testified that there is no mission to a traffic stop. That is directly contrary to Rodriguez versus United States, which came out in 2015, prior to his time at the police academy.
Want something else?
So in your report, did the white Lincoln stopped when you activated your lights and sirens
Yeah, pulled over abruptly.
into a parking lot?
Yes,
Say
Your Honor.
Yes, yes, yes.
Is Schoolcraft a two-lane road?
Schoolcraft. So I know it used to be a 2-lane. Right now, it doesn't have the actual lines to separate the lanes.
But it would be safe to pull into a parking lot as opposed to trying to stop in the middle of the street.
I mean, you can always pull over to the right.
Okay. Once the white Lincoln pulled into the parking lot, did you turn your sirens off?
Turn the sirens off. Yes, sir. Don't recall exactly.
Did you put the car in park?
I did put the car in park.
And did you open the door to get out?
Yes.
And at what point did you observe the occupant of the white Lincoln reaching?
As soon as he pulled over in the parking lot, I could see him reaching.
Was the rear window of the Lincoln tinted?
Yes.
And you indicated to your partners, you had a chance to review the body cam footage before today, or in
Yes.
preparation for today?
It was about a week ago.
And did that refresh your recollection as to the events of the day, July 19th?
Somewhat.
And did you indicate to your partners that somebody was reaching before you had even exited your vehicle?
I believe so.
And as you approach the white Lincoln, did the front windows roll down?
I don't recall.
When you got up to the vehicle, standing next to it, Were the windows up or down?
Honestly, don't recall.
Did the windows ever roll down?
Like I said, I don't recall that part.
Did you open the door to Mr. Miller's vehicle?
Honestly, don't remember exactly. I mean, you can review the body cam.
Did you detain Mr. Miller after pulling him over?
Yes,
And when Mr. Miller got out of the vehicle, was he wearing a shirt?
I don't believe he was wearing a shirt.
Was he wearing gym shorts?
I'm gonna object, Your Honor, well, it's what it's wearing.
I don't recall if he was wearing some shorts or not.
Hold on.
The basis for Mr. Duncan to proceed with a search of the vehicle doesn't exist, number one, and I'll get to that later.
Okay, well, that's not on the record.
Under Pennsylvania v. Wims,
There's nothing been put on the record about the search, other than what the other officer testified to. So until it is on the record, there's no argument to be made about it.
the officer's ability to determine whether Mr.
Did you understand what I just said?
I did, Your Honor.
All right.
How long after detaining Mr. Miller did you begin searching his vehicle?
I mean, shortly after he was detained, this is when I did.
Within a few seconds?
I can't give an exact second mark or minute mark, but it was like right after.
Did anything change from when you pulled over Mr. Miller to the point that, were you presented with any new circumstances from when you pulled over Mr. Miller to the time you began searching his vehicle?
What do you mean?
Was there any additional reasonable suspicion for detaining Mr. Miller other than
Ask
your
him for a
travel stop?
legal opinion. Ask him what he did, what your client said, what he said.
At-
Opinions are left open.
At the time you detained Mr. Miller, your justification for that detainment was the traffic stop.
It wasn't, just the traffic stop, it was just movements abruptly reaching over passenger side of the.
It was, his movements gave you, his movements justified his further detention? Is that your testimony?
His movements towards the passenger side, you know, my law enforcement experience with previous gun arrests or contraband arrests, he made the same exact movements abruptly.
When you pull over a vehicle, do you ask for driver's license, registration, proof of insurance?
Always ask for,
And do drivers typically keep those documents, for example, in their glove box?
What do I care about where drivers usually keep those documents at? Why would I care?
Your Honor, the officer is testifying that his justification to continue detaining Mr. Miller was based on a first gesture.
Okay, so what does that have to do with where other people keep their documents?
It's his basis for,
No. It doesn't, counsel. I don't care about what other people do. I can't, and I think I've said at least 4 times on the record. And I really don't see a need to say it anymore. Get to your point.
prior to searching Mr. Miller's car, did you ask Mr. Miller for his driver's license?
I don't recall.
Did you ask Mr. Miller for his proof of insurance?
Don't recall. You can review the body cam. I don't recall.
Your testimony is that you're not going to recall what you did leading up to the search, but we should review the body cam.
I mean, I don't want to, you know, make a mistake and say something that didn't happen.
Okay. The only thing, so Was Mr. Miller under arrest prior to the search of his vehicle?
He was detained.
He was detained. Okay. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Briefly, you saw someone speeding and you stopped them, right? Okay, once you stopped them, you saw movements that made you fear for officer safety.
Correct.
You detained Mr. Miller because of that.
Yes.
Prior to the search, you knew that he had a suspended license and that he had no insurance.
Yeah, my partner notified.
You can arrest someone for suspended license, right?
Yes.
And take them into custody.
Yes.
You would search a vehicle that had no insurance before you encountered it, right?
Correct. It
You
was
searched the vehicle and found a Glock, right?
correct.
Nothing.
Your Honor, 2 questions on the right.
Right.
Mr. Duncan, is the white Lincoln, is that owned by Ms. Miller?
Sure, I believe so. I'm not sure.
Did you know who was driving the white Lincoln prior to pulling him over?
No,
So you didn't know that Mr. Miller had a suspended license prior to your encounter with him, correct?
prior to my encounter, no.
No further questions.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Bell. Further witness,
No further witnesses.
the rest?
Yes, Your Honor.
The people were motion for a bind over in this case. It really just lines up with the questions that I asked, the officer right there at the end. They saw a vehicle speeding, they stopped him. There were movements that they thought needed, for the defendant to be detained for officer safety. And that's a decision they made based on everything they've been through. And in that moment, they made that decision. Once he was detained, they knew that the car didn't have any insurance, so it would have been towed, would have been searched. In short, once they ran his name, they knew that he didn't have a license, which they could have arrested him for, and taken him into custody just for that. They had the PC. They searched the car, found the gun, and it was in a car that he was sole occupant of. So it's, possession is his, and he didn't have a CPO, and that's probable cause.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm gonna make a motion to suppress the evidence from the search on the basis that a seizure justified solely by the interest of issuing a ticket to a driver becomes unlawful if it is prolonged beyond the time reasonably complete the mission of issuing a ticket. That's Illinois versus Caballas.
How do you get past the issue that this is a arrestable offense? He had no driver's license was suspended, and no insurance. Both are arrestable offenses.
Your Honor, at the time that the search took place, the officers did not know.
They knew he didn't have a insurance. That's arrestable offense. Both of them testified to that.
Your Honor, that's not in the reports.
I don't care what's in the report. I don't go by what's in the report. I go by what I hear in court.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, court having heard the testimony and argument finds us as follows. July 19, 2023, the officer Hopkins was on patrol along with Officer Willie Duncan and in the area of 10538 Schoolcraft, pulled over a white Lincoln, who they thought was traveling at a high rate of speed. There was a traffic stop, ran the plate prior to the stop. There was no insurance. They contact with the defendant, who was the driver. Prior to making contact, both these officers testifying the same, the defendant reached towards the back seat. He was detained. Being detained, they found out his license was also suspended. The vehicle was searched by Officer Duncan. As both the suspended license and the no insurance are arrestable offenses, a handgun was found in the back seat. And it was the sole occupant of the vehicle. As such, he has constructive control over that handgun. So, there was no CPL, was carrying concealed weapons. The court finds that the felony enumerating the complaining warrant did in fact occur in the city of Detroit. Probable cause existing charges defendant shall be filed over the Wayne County Circuit Court Criminal Division for arraignment on the information, which will be September 26, 2023, 9 o'clock. And bond is continued. Anything else?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.